Hey, it's Crypto fans. We're back with today's breaking news story. Less breaking, more interesting. So we know Bitcoin is above $70,000 again. That's wonderful, amazing news. And now a lot of people are wondering, why hasn't Bitcoin increased further? Why hasn't it gone above 72,000? We had some really interesting inflows when it comes to the Bitcoin spot ETFs. What's next? Today we're going to be talking about a Cointelegraph article, 3 reasons why Bitcoin failed to break above $72,000 by Marcel Peckman. Regulatory uncertainty and volatile macroeconomic events may weaken further upside in the BTC price in the near term. So Bitcoin registered a 5.9% gain between June 2nd and 5th, but its rally was halted at $71,746. This movement was supported by a nearly $1 billion worth of inflows into US listed spot exchange traded funds, indicating strong demand from institutional investors. Bitcoin's bullish momentum was also fueled by significant growth of the US banking sector's unrealized losses. However, despite favorable conditions, including a more crypto-friendly stance from US lawmakers, Bitcoin was unable to break above $72,000. So what are the 3 main reasons? The number 1 reason, of course, is regulatory uncertainty persists despite positive developments. So we know one of the biggest pieces of news was the Ethereum spot ETF, right? Was saying, yes, this is going to happen. However, it looks like it's not going to happen as fast as the Bitcoin spot ETF, because we know the Bitcoin spot ETF was approved, and then a few weeks later, it was listed on the stock exchanges, right? So according to Matt Hoogan, Bitwise's chief investment officer, regulatory uncertainty has hindered financial advisors from increasing their crypto exposure. Nevertheless, Hoogan believes the US is moving towards regulatory clarity, a shift that began when Democrats voted to repeal the US Securities and Exchange Commission Staff Accounting Bulletin 121. So we know this is interesting because CNBC ran an article a few days ago where they asked financial advisors, like, why haven't you recommended Bitcoin? When are you going to recommend Bitcoin? And a lot of financial advisors, yes, this is interesting. This is definitely on our radar, but we are not ready to recommend it yet. But from the article, the general consensus was they wanted to see how Bitcoin performs this year, maybe over the next 6 months, and maybe in 2025, we could see more financial advisors sort of recommend Bitcoin. Then we also have what the SEC has saying, which is, right, we're looking at these spot Ethereum ETFs, but at the same time, they're really going through it with a fine-tooth comb to figure out what is okay, what is not okay. And we've seen lots of things on Twitter about that. So please check that out as well. And another sort of big thing as well is, according to the FDIC, US financial institutions are currently carrying $517 billion of accounting loss due to the impact of higher rates on their residential mortgage-backed securities. The report published on May 29th states that 64 banks were on the brink of insolvency in the first quarter of 2024. So, of course, when banks go insolvent, people get worried, and, of course, with good reason to be that. So this also is weighing down on the price of Bitcoin. The second big thing is Bitcoin's price may drop ahead of negative macroeconomic events. BitMEX's co-founder Arthur Hayes argued that the most likely fix is to print more money, which is very favorable, of course, because as you print more money, that sort of devalues the US dollar. And again, Bitcoin being scarce, right, at 21 million Bitcoin, that sort of increases the value of Bitcoin. However, even if this theory is correct, meaning the US Federal Reserve will inject liquidity into the system to avoid a generalized bankruptcy or ease the pressure on the banking system via repurchase agreements and special credit lines, odds are Bitcoin's price will first decline if the stock market and bond markets suffer. And again, we've seen this before. Our research team has talked about this, that Bitcoin is, now that it's being more involved with on the institutional side, it's become correlated with the stock market and the way people perceive macroeconomic events. So when negative macroeconomic events happen, when the government prints more money, people are like, oh my God, this is bad. And they start selling their stocks, they start selling their bonds. And so all of this does affect the market. And the last thing I think is the most interesting. The stock market success is not inherently positive for Bitcoin. So this morning when I woke up, we saw Nvidia is now the second most valuable company in the world. And that's amazing. It is a $3 trillion company. And then we've also seen things with the GME and GameStop and AMC. So again, meme stock mania has taken off. I'd highly advise you to check out a video by Andre Jick, and he explains what happened with GameStop and AMC and Roaring Kitty and all the stories involved there. But basically, you could earn money by being involved in meme stocks. Again, not financial advice, and I would highly suggest you don't do that. But yeah, people have earned a lot of money. The guy, Roaring Kitty, behind GameStop earned something like $89 million when I looked at Twitter the other day. There are a lot of options for people to make money, right? It's not only back in the days of, okay, you buy Bitcoin at $25,000, it's going to go up to $65,000. Now, if you're an early holder of NVIDIA stock, you've made a lot of money. Even if you bought NVIDIA stock last year or sometime, you still made a ton of money. And I don't think that's going to go anywhere anytime soon, just because AI continues to impress, continues to wow people. We had the release of ChatGPT-4o or Omni, right? We had Copilot Plus PCs, AMD, Intel, everyone's releasing CPUs with NPUs on them. So AI looks like it's going to propel the stock market for the foreseeable future. And then if you're an investor, right, are you going to buy crypto? Are you going to buy stocks? Are you decreasing your percentage of Bitcoin to invest more into stocks? These are all valid questions that I don't have an answer for, but I think these are all the things that are going to weigh down on the price of Bitcoin. I definitely agree with this point the most. Let me know what you think. Do you think the stock market is pressuring Bitcoin? Do you think people are just waiting for the macro environment to settle? Are we waiting for regulatory clarity? I can't believe I can actually say that correctly. Let me know down in the comments. Stay tuned for another story dropping down on Friday evening, Saturday morning here in Taiwan. And then I'll see you guys later.